All right, we'll call the street committee to order at 6:34. Mr. Booth is not here, so I'll chair the committee tonight. We can start with the street signs. We are replacing them, and there's been some questions on what to do with the old street signs. Mr. Cohen, could you update, kind of give us an overview of that?
Well, I'm not real sure how it's going to go with the old street signs, because usually stuff like that, we either auction, is it whole, or we scrap them. So that'll have to be something discussed with Mr. and Jimmy.
Okay. And probably also with the city auditor to make sure if we are, whatever process we do, whether it's auction, whatever it is, because some people have been asking how they can get the sign on the street that they live on. But we need to make sure through the auditor we do it properly.
Yeah, and I think it's a good idea. I think it'd be a good fundraiser to, that money could go back into, the street department, help sell potholes or something. I mean, I know it's not gonna be a ton of money, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. And I believe, Mr. Cohen, we are replacing all the signs citywide.
When they come in.
Yeah, as they
We've
come
got
in.
about a third of them right now, just fine.
Right. So the process won't happen overnight. It'll take a little time. Okay.
Can I ask why we're getting new street signs?
Because over half of them needed replaced. So we just decided to go with a new design, something different. They look a little bit older. They have the star brick and the stable on them, just to set Nelsonville apart. It didn't cost a whole lot more to just buy them all than it would to just buy half of them, and then turn around in another year and buy the other half of them.
How many are we buying? How many are we replacing, I guess?
If I remember right, there was 400 and some.
Oh, no, haven't we?
Yeah, no more streets than what are in Nelsonville. You'd never believe there was that many street names on it.
Well, that is shocking.
Well, yeah, if you think about it, like Chestnut Street,
Yeah.
think of all the cross streets. So
That's true.
how many Chestnut Street signs is there
Yeah.
that are at every one of those cross streets?
Yeah.
Jason, how expensive are they?
It was 14,000 for all
They're very nice too. I like them.
of it. I never thought about it. I could have brought one in.
I know Mr. Hurd had a street question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we done with the sign discussion?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
I got about three different things.
Mhm.
Up here on Franklin Street where they're paving that, and then they're gonna pave, Madison Street going up to,
Fourth Street.
Madison's not getting paid.
Fourth Street is.
Fourth
Fourth Street, I mean. Okay. Is that all they're putting down, is just that one coat they got down?
No.
They're
That's
putting another one
what
on
they
top of
put, there's two more. So what they put down today was a leveling coat because the road was in such bad shape when they milled it down. And then it's getting 2 inches of base and an inch and a half of top.
Okay. All right, another thing. I know the streets are tore up all over town, putting these water lines in. But why hasn't the city went back and fixed what they've tore up?
We try to fix it as we're going. We got concrete right now that needs replaced.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I know you gotta wait on this, you gotta wait on that. But over and back in the shoe factory, you guys put a fire hydrant in.
Yeah.
It's been a year.
And we were just
Okay.
we were just talking about this.
All right, down here on Canal Street, it's been 3 years. You ain't put the curb and the sidewalk back.
We're on canal.
You can go all over town.
I'm asking where
Are
on
you,
canal?
you the chairman?
I am tonight.
Well, whoever the chairman is, you can ride over town and you can probably find 40 or 50 places where we've dug it up in the last year and just throw limestone in it.
But where are you speaking of, sir?
Huh?
You gave a specific location before. Where exactly were you speaking of?
You got what down there?
She said, where were you speaking of? What street?
What area?
What area are you
Yes.
talking about?
Well, you got, right back of Rocky Shoe. It's been over a
Okay,
year.
but you said something after that, sir. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, you got down Canal Street
Okay,
where they
where?
put the road in. the new, road. That curb and highway, it's sat down for 3 years. They finally did get down and get the sawhorses. You know, you go up on Adams Street, you go just about every street in town
Short street.
that's dug up. Down there by Shivers. On Horner.
They're in the process
Well, they
now
cut
of
concrete out
repaving
first.
that.
Don't put concrete back, it's those limestone in it.
Well, they're,
It's like that all over town.
they're in the process of doing that. The problem is, every time you start up paving and stop paving, you have a start up and stop cost, which costs the city more. So when we've gone through and done the major project, we start paving, which
I'm
gives
talking
us
about the stuff the city
And
tears.
another issue we have with it is, we have 6 guys, counting myself, 6. So when we have water line breaks, when we got an 8-inch blowing in Bookville, I'm just saying, it's constant, we constantly have water leaks.
I know what you're saying. The concrete plant is too cold or something. They're not making asphalt. But it don't take no year and 2 years to do this stuff. You know, how long has it been down on the corner of Stoltz's?
I don't know.
You don't know.
That was before I started, so no, I can't tell you.
What do you mean before you started?
It was
Okay,
before I
okay,
started.
hold on. So we
Right
get
there on the
your,
corner by the stop
I know what you're
sign
talking about, but
It's
that
been
was
dug
before
up.
I started.
in the last 6 months.
No, it wasn't.
okay, hold on. So we get your point. That's something that the city manager and the service director can discuss, and we'll bring it back to street.
You got right out here on 278 by my house. It's been that way for 5 years.
We passed it.
The highway's
We
sinking.
passed it once.
Huh?
It's been patched.
It's been for 5 years. I've lived there. For 5 years, the highway sinks. Underneath of it is an old storm thing for brick kilns. It's smashed. You go up there, cars go by there every day. They go around it, motorcycles hit it, and they bottom out. The only thing the city has done in the last 5 years is what, put another 2 or 3 inches of asphalt and level it off. Turn around, go up and put another 2 or 3 inches of asphalt on, level it off. It's got an air tunnel underneath the highway, is what's busted. That's why it keeps sinking. But nobody wants to go up and tear it apart and fix it.
We can go dig it,
Huh?
but then we gotta get with the state to be able to dig there too, just because it's in the city
The
limits.
state ain't gonna do it, it's on the inside of the highway.
Did I say the state was gonna do it? Not one time.
Okay,
Not what I said.
It ain't your fault,
Did I say
it
it was
ain't,
my
it ain't
fault?
the city's fault to fix it.
That's not what I said. You're not listening. I
okay,
said we
hold
have to
hold
get
on.
with the state to be able to do it, because it's still a state highway, even though it's in the city.
The state was the one that paved it the last time too. It was the state that came in and redid this section of 278 the last time. It was the state that did that. All right, I don't know that specific example up there that you're referring to, but you know, these are, I'm not disagreeing, I'm not,
Who you're saying is responsible for that up there by the water plant?
I said, we could fix it. This is what I said when you weren't listening to me. We can fix it, but I have to get with the state first because it's a state highway. They won't let me just dig a hole in the middle of their state highway.
Okay, I'll go along with that, but as it took 5 years,
Okay, so we'll identify it, we'll have further conversations to, have the city manager look at it. I know we're paving a lot this year. We already have some designated for next year. We just, so I don't have it all memorized which streets, but we got a lot going on with streets this year and next year.
we have 11 streets.
I realize that, but I still go back to the same philosophy. It don't take no year to fix stuff. I don't care.
Okay, all right.
That's all I got.
Thank you.
Later.
Thank you. Anything else on concerning streets?
We're dealing with the state.
Yes.
Just the signs, I think if there's a way that we can auction those off and get that money back into the fund for the street department, I think it'd be great if, We've got the paving projects going on now currently. Thank you for that explanation, Jason. So as he just, Mr. Hurd had asked and Jason had responded, there's an initial coating they're putting on Franklin Street right now as a leveling, and then they're putting on 2 more coats on top of that. So there's still quite a bit of paving to be done. I presume that might be the same. Well, 4th Street looks pretty level actually. So
Yeah, I don't think Fourth Street's set up to that.
so
Franklin Street was the one, the side closest to us, the south side.
pretty bad. So, but I'm excited that it's getting done. That'll be really nice when it's done. So we have all that paving, and I do know as far as canal, I know you mentioned some stuff on canal, that's getting paved next year.
Along with, Borough, correct?
Yes, so Monday, starting next Monday through Friday, Borough's gonna be shut down. The press release hasn't been out yet. It'll be shut down from Canal Street back up to the apartments where it was at before. They've gotta go through and dig 8 inches out for asphalt. They're gonna put 6 inches of base and 2 inches of top. And they're just fixing the trench since the road's getting completely redone next year.
Any other updates on streets? Patching citywide, anything like that?
I mean, we patch when we can. Like I said,
Right.
count myself, there's 6 of us. With everything else we got, we spent 2 days just mowing. Right, I mean, on top of leaks and everything else. So we go when we can.
It looked like you mowed the grass and everything that was planted on the dog park area.
That would have been the sewer plant goes down, knows that.
Oh, okay, because it looked pretty good.
Say, I have a question.
Sure.
I don't know who I would talk to about this, being on city council. I don't know who I would talk to about this, but I've noticed when I pull out off from Monroe Street onto Fayette Street where the Nelsonville Commons is, and I've got a picture of it, there's people pulling right back to the curb where the stop sign is. And I talked to somebody else that had this problem, and you have to nose your way out in case traffic's
All
coming.
I gotta do is say something. I can run down, I can have the guys put a sign up. No parking here.
Can you do that? Because and I've noticed it really around town, there's a lot of,
We've got a bunch of them to put up around town. It's just,
it's right there at Monroe Street and Fayette on that stop sign, and there's a truck sitting there. I've got a picture of the truck sitting there, and I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but and not just for me, but I'm sure it's a hazard for everybody pulling out there. So yeah, that would be great, James. You could put one right there.
we can get that because we just put new signs up in front of the handicap signs.
Yeah, that looks good. That looks real good. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Is there anything slated to fix the east end of, Chestnut Street up there where the lake's at every time it rains? Or do you know?
Right now, there's, I mean, that's where we need to, as a council, we need to get back into the discussions about storm sewers and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, cause
Yeah,
it
it really
was
does
there.
need a storm sewer down there.
It was there at one time.
We need storm sewers in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Well, and I can tell you that there were storm sewers in a lot of places that I know of, and when the city did street work, they took them out.
Well, when they did that, they tore our driveway up and it's still,
So,
I got-
they
I got a
took-
lake in
you know,
my
they put new
driveway.
curbs in and took the drains out and stuff. And, yeah, there's a couple intersections that are kind of issues.
Yeah, but
yeah, it was-
that one in there at, Chestnut, every time it rains,
it's awful.
it's all the way out past the middle of the road.
That one scares me because people come off of Canal Street,
Right.
or
Yep.
on the Chestnut, and I'm just nervous someone's gonna hydroplane right there.
Yes.
That's where I'm afraid of, because they come ripping down through there.
Obviously, when that car,
Is that where that was?
it wasn't that, it was more down towards Speedway.
Oh,
Yeah,
It's
there's a
because they
couple
were
of spots.
flying down.
Yeah.
Chestnut Street.
Oh, they do, since they paved that
That's-
money at the race.
I'm really worried after driving over Franklin Street today. I feel that's gonna be a race.
Yeah, and that's a hilly one.
But there was a sign down there where all that water convened.
It does that at Speedway also.
Yeah,
Does it?
yes.
On Chestnut?
on the speedway side.
Yep.
Chestnut.
So there had been discussion previously, a few years ago, about making that part of Franklin Street where they're paving now one way. And that might help alleviate some potential issues when this is done.
I can get with Devin and Harry about that, and we can talk about it, because we talked actually like Mill Street, it's only parking on one side. Well, now there's a handicap person there with a sign, so the sign's on the opposite side of parking. So I talked to Harry and Devin, and we're gonna move the one side parking to the other side of the street. And then that way it gives more room for fire trucks to turn in there too, without cars being parked in there.
I'm surprised that's not an issue on Franklin with trying to get a fire truck up through there.
Yeah, that one piece needs one way.
And
It's not wide enough for two cars.
concerning storm drains, previously, there had also been discussions, if I say this correctly, potentially an assessment fee to raise funds to do the storm drains. And, maybe that needs to be revisited.
The top before was about like square footage.
Square
Of
footage.
your
Right.
roof. And then it's the roof and any hard surface, which would be driveway, if you have a patio, it's any hard surface or a roof, which that's how Logan does it too.
Yeah, a lot of communities do that. It's not a popular idea, but they gotta be addressed somehow.
How many of you folks drive physically on Chestnut Street? I mean, literally.
We live there.
I'm talking about if you start at McDonald's, that's where Chestnut comes in. The street is like this.
Because of the bricks.
I understand why. It's a concern.
The issue with it is that people don't like my idea on it. I think all the bricks in town need to be asphalt and the square needs to be brick with maybe brick crosswalks in town, just to make it, and then you keep the square historical with the bricks. But it's hard to find somebody that does brick roads now. That's why the far end of Chestnut Street is asphalt. Because when they dug that sewer down there, they were so deep, it just kept falling in. Couldn't afford, it wasn't even close to being in the project to be able to have somebody repair that road, put brick there. It's just so expensive.
And that's the issue where I think she's referring to where it's crumbling underneath, right?
Right.
And then to dig that up and then to put it back, it wouldn't look.
They use the same brick though, right?
No, he's talking about asphalt.
They
But it's actually, there is a way that it's supposed to go back in though, so it ties in,
But
because the brick will move
as
otherwise.
far as that goes, let's look at Jefferson Street. That little section that we're still paying on for how many more years, that's, after it's been fixed, it's still as rough as it was when I started driving 32 years
It
ago.
might be worse.
I heard it's because of the weed holes.
Right,
Down up
but
under.
these were professionals come in and done
I
this
know.
brick road and
I
see how
know.
it turned out.
That was what, $1.5 million?
When we done Mill Street, because Mill Street's now paved, when Mill Street was done, the brick they took out were five-sided brick. Five-sided brick were made for horses to get traction in the rain and snow. I mean, our streets were absolutely not designed for today's vehicles, buses, trash trucks, anything, the volume that's on it. It wasn't designed for that. So what's underneath is bound to give way. I mean, you can take a camel, but once you put so many people on it, it's gonna buck with the knees.
Now, on Chestnut Street there by where the old food cupboard was, that drain there, they went in and took that whole thing out of there and redid that, because it had sunk in so
Sewer.
heavily, you would literally,
Yeah, the sewer.
and it was a sewer.
Derek Dixon did that. That was right after.
And
I
doesn't
first
that
started.
sewer run all the way down Chestnut?
That's the main trunk line through Nelsonville.
Yeah.
So that project is, it has been discussed, but it's gonna be a very expensive project when it comes, for sure. And that's regardless if it goes brick or, asphalt, it's just gonna,
It's deep.
it's deep, there's gonna be a lot of utilities that will have to be repaired while they have it for.
Farther down Chestnut you go, the deeper it
I
gets.
know, I treat there by the Wesleyan Church. there's something that has happened there. I don't know what it is, but you're just driving along and you're fine, and then all at once it's like the whole
Yeah,
bottom,
Yeah,
that's
the
how that
whole
one.
bottom fell out, you know, it's,
Well, you know, the House and Senate just passed that $4.2 billion improvement bill. And that's what I was talking to about the grants.
We would need it all.
Yeah. Plus, right?
right, well, hey, might as well apply for it anyway, so.
Chestnut would probably, Jason, easily approach what, 20 million? Yeah, I don't.
I know they are.
Before you ever fix the road, you have to, the utilities, you want to replace them, because if not, fixing the road, turn out to right back up at some point. You don't want to do that. I mean, that's the same thing we're going through with Scott Street right now. They dug up Scott Street for the water, but we're not paved, it's not getting paved in this project because the phase 4 sewer, the bid opening's on the 12th. It's going on Scott Street too, so we pave it when we turn around and come right back there and dig it back up. Just doesn't make
It doesn't make
financial
sense,
sense.
yeah, it doesn't make financial sense.
So we were able to take that section of Scott and flip it, so we got farther up Pleasantview. We were able to go farther up and get it under the highway and everything going up Pleasant. And then Scott Street will be done when the sewer's done. And then
I read where Diamond Street up was being paved, but isn't Pleasant View getting, or is it Diamond Street down?
Pleasant.
But
the diamond
going
is
up
where
from Fourth Street?
Corey is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One
okay.
way, yeah, that's.
Well, that's hell, that's always been hell up
Yeah,
here.
that's it.
Yeah, Diamond Street's not getting paved though.
No.
No.
But I read it, I read, I think it was in.
It was originally supposed to stop at Diamond Street, but then where we're not doing Scott Street, we were able to flip it
And run it up the
and
hill.
run it up the hill.
Okay,
even
that's
farther.
probably what I read,
I don't know what happened that allowed you to do East Franklin Street, but I'm eternally.
So here's my thoughts on that, was the project was going as far as Fourth Street. So why don't we as the city pick up the rest and then that whole street from one end to the other is done.
Done.
And then we don't have to worry about it for a while. It's a brand new road.
That'd be wonderful.
It's the same thing with Fourth Street from Franklin, to Washington.
I remember when you did.
And you're gonna wrap that all the way over to Jefferson, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's nice, because there's always that one pothole right on the
Yeah,
corner
it just
there.
doesn't make sense to me.
And that one
Just-
pothole, you can't.
Just like the project's paving so much in Frog Hollow, it didn't make sense to me not to go ahead and finish Frog Hollow, and then it's done. That's somewhere we don't have to worry about for,
They deserve to have something that's,
right. But the way I look at it is that's somewhere we're not gonna have to worry about. So next year when we got our lot of money, we can pick an area and do that area, and then we don't have to worry about it. We can just keep moving on.
Yeah.
That's the problem that the towns had, is they do one street here and then they
That's
clear
right.
down here and
Yep,
do one,
that's right.
and nothing's, so if we can get it in sections and as we go, once we finish the last, one, then we'll be able to go back and start over.
Yeah, and Frog Hollow doesn't have a lot of traffic, so hopefully that asphalt lasts, so. All right, there's one more item here, Mr. Clement, that, we have in front of us.
Yes. Mr. Taylor, would you like to speak on your idea?
I'm not saying. A while back, I come across an idea that the state of Maryland's doing. And this is a project that will honor both police and fire. It also, it'll also lead to our city hall as well, if we want to put it that way. What I would like to see the city of Nelsonville do on September Street and Rocky View Way is to honor our firefighter who had fallen and police officer. September Street, I would like to see red lines on the center of the street for Jeff Arms. Also on Rocky View Way, paint the line blue for Jason, Scott Dolly, and the other police officer who had fallen in the 1900s. Also, I would like to see a red and blue line from
Canal Street on Bergeron here to our driveway here to represent, for people to know where our city hall is and the police and fire.
I like that.
And also, I would like to see a green line in the center of the blue and red to represent our military, sent to the VFWs across the street.
That's a great idea.
So I thought I'd bring it to street committee meeting for you guys to, ponder over and take to.
Just so you guys know, he's had this idea for a while. He kept trying to get me to bring it. I told him I'm not taking credit for it. If he wants to do it, I'll stand behind him 100%, but he's gotta come and talk about it.
I think
And I
that's.
also took it to Tom too, and now that's fine.
I think it's an awesome idea.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
So, real quick question, because I haven't read through all this, but so a lot of the examples I see in these photos, it's the entire, space between the yellow lines. So like I can see that on September Street and on Rocky Boot Way. Were you suggesting red and blue? Were you thinking about taking that center line and kind of dividing it up? Is that what you're
Well, where, here?
like for down Canal up to here?
I thought one side be red, one side be blue, and then the center line would be green.
The only thing with this is just like, I told Mr. Hurd, this is still state highway. So it goes back to like the signs for town, because we originally picked out a color, it was a maroon color, it looked like brick with the white highlights and stuff in it. Absolutely not allowed to do it. We tried to, that's why it's taken us so long, we've tried to find loopholes. According to ODOT, it cannot be done.
They just won't allow the
There's
red.
certain colors of signs, you can do brown, blue, green, white, or black. And that's it. So I went with the white with the black outlines because to me, that, the old signs, the old porcelain signs were white with the black outlines. So I went with that. It was the next best thing we could do besides without doing the brick color.
So you're saying that possibly they would have to put a nix on the red, blue, and green?
Maybe.
We just have to get it approved
We
by.
have to get it approved by ODOT on this street here.
Yes, I understand.
But not on
Because this is
Canal.
still state highway.
Yeah, not on Canal, just on
I know
Borough,
it's a stick.
or on 278, not on Canal Street, correct?
On Canal Street, you have to also.
Oh, really? Okay.
But he's just talking about starting at the white. And coming
Okay.
on September and Rocky Boot Way.
We can
those are
do that.
city streets, we can do that.
Okay.
On the street. But from the light to here, we'd have to clear that through it.
How long does it take for that to happen?
Well, I didn't know if you guys would have to do some type of ordinance or whatever.
Resolution, maybe. Yeah, we might have to do like an ordinance or resolution, probably a resolution, I'm guessing.
I can try to get a hold of ODOT this week, it just doesn't mean I'm gonna have an answer this week.
Yeah.
So, for making a recommendation to move this on to, full council for further discussion, and if we need a resolution, moving forward and doing so.
I'll second that then.
Okay?
You can send it to council and still vote on it because September and Rocky Boot Way can still be done.
Mhm.
And just
Right.
put in the wording that if it's allowed, if I don't have an answer by then, if it's allowed, then do this.
Because the next 2 months, you only have one meeting per month.
Yeah. Agreed.
And if possible, we can always put a sign up as well on each street. Memory of. Firefighter and, that'd be up to you guys.
We could put something like the lines depict, or the lines are in memory of, the lines, put the line on the sign and put in memory of. What is your name, Jeff?
Jeff Arms.
Yeah.
Scott
Scott
Rowley.
Rowley.
Yeah, I get your name backwards.
Okay, perfect. Anything else? Any other discussion on that? All right, anyone have anything else?
Yes, there was, a lady, I don't know if you read it or not. Susan had sent it out.
Oh,
Nan
yes,
Schaefer.
yeah, from Nancy Schaefer. refresh my memory, I was asking about
Crosswalk at Second.
crosswalk.
Crosswalk where?
At Second Street.
That she had a whole, where the street,
Second Street, oh, okay, at Taco Bell there?
yeah, well, no, where the streets have been worked on and they've taken away the paving from the side of the road. There is none. Nothing about that. I don't.
Maybe what, I know, she said something about the crosswalk, down there by where, the senior housing down there.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Coming across through there,
okay,
because there's no crosswalk in that area.
okay. So do we need just lines on the street or?
We need wheelchair ramps and stuff also.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, I think I know. So when Canal Street was redone, there's no wheelchair.
Accessibility.
Gotcha.
And it should be, if we're gonna put a crosswalk in there, it should be a lighted crosswalk.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, you need a light there.
there's a light, need a light there too. Okay.
At night, it's pitch black through there.
Well-
But I mean, when you're driving and coming up to
It's
it,
just-
you've gotta really pay attention.
Isn't there a pole right there from a Family Dollar? Okay. I thought there was a telephone pole there. Maybe we just need a light on it, or maybe the lights burn out.
Well, tonight would be a good night to see it, as big as the sun is, seriously, it makes a difference, but it's dangerous.
Does ODOT still have any control on Canal Street?
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to take that through them too.
So, here's what I've got a thought. I know you got a lot going on right now, but maybe we can take, before the next street committee meeting, maybe take an inventory of, because I think there's probably a couple other intersections that either need new, because they may have a ramp on the sidewalk, but it may not be ADA approved. Or, there may be other ones, because the thought process in my mind is that if we can identify, let's just say 20 across the city, you might be able to apply for a grant
Yes.
for, to do all of them versus just necessarily one intersection.
Yeah, because if we do any, we have to hire somebody. Because they have to be a certain degree, have to have the stamps down on them. When it comes to wheelchair ramps.
Okay, so if we maybe be able to identify those areas, and then maybe put that together as a project, that's what I.
What about the $250,000 grant that's for city improvement that you've already theoretically, today's July 1, it should have occurred,
Yep.
that wasn't gonna be all spent for the dog park?
Right.
That would be an ideal use for it.
It would be a good idea for that.
And the money is theoretically still there.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I think what we need to do is probably get some cost estimates on what it would cost to redo those, ramps, and then just, see how far
But we also talked in the Parks and Rec, there's no sidewalks on that end of town.
Right, correct. So putting one to be able to access the dog park across Canal Street, across Chestnut Street down there.
that would serve many, many purposes.
Yes, it would.
I thought in the sewer package and everything, that there was supposed to be a sidewalk put in up Chestnut Street, up through there. Where the rumor I got was there's supposed to be a brick sidewalk because they didn't put it back as brick.
Had so many years,
They was gonna put a brick sidewalk up
It's probably
through
still 6 years to do it. And I actually asked Michael Betts about that last week.
And so it's whether not focused on it right now, you're saying, or?
I asked him about it, because that's another thing, we'll have to hire somebody in to lay a sidewalk from Speedway, go down to the water, out of brick. It's the brick, we probably got 60 or 70 skids out back, 5 foot tall brick that came out of Chestnut.
And that's because they weren't able to put it back brick, the state
And
said
then
you had
that was
to.
all part of the USDA. That was their give me for letting us do asphalt.
Gotcha, I gotcha. So instead of, because you couldn't do the street back brick, you have to then do the
And
brick
there's a
sidewalk
plaque
down.
up saying,
That's what I thought, those things.
Okay.
I don't know if that was included in part of that package or.
I mean, it'd be nice though if they're gonna do that, or if we have to already hire someone to do that, to maybe incorporate a sidewalk, you know, across Chestnut, across, Canal Street, you know, to be able to access that side of town and the dog park more. Okay. That'll be a decent sized project though.
That would be,
But look how many people it would serve.
Oh, for sure.
It's huge.
Yep, I agree. I think just sidewalk improvements will serve a lot of people in this town. Because we've got a lot of sidewalks that need some assistance there, so.
okay, I see Mr. Cohen making notes, so,
Right.
yeah, gather the information and get it back to us. All right, anything else? Okay, we'll adjourn at 7:09.